In a small town, hidden between dusty roads and endless fields, lived a young man named Arman. He was once called the Dreamer. Everyone in the village remembered how his eyes used to shine when he talked about his goals. He wanted to build something that would not only change his life, but the lives of everyone around him. But life had other plans. When Arman turned 18, tragedy struck. His father, the only breadwinner of the family, passed away. Overnight, the weight of survival fell on Arman's shoulders. He abandoned his books, left his college, and picked up hard labor in a factory. The dreamer who once spoke of inventions and businesses now carried sacks of cement on his back. Every morning, he would wake up before dawn, his hands cracked and bleeding, his body tired, but his mind still whispering, "Arman, you were meant for something bigger." At first, he tried to silence that voice, but the whispers never stopped. Even in his lowest moments, something inside him refused to die. One night, as he sat under a broken streetlight outside the factory, Arman pulled out an old notebook, the one his father had given him years ago. Inside were his childhood sketches of machines, ideas, and little business plans. For the first time in years, he smiled. But then he looked at his bruised hands and thought, How can I even think of building something when I can't even afford dinner?" Days turned into months. The factory life was crushing. And yet, Arman noticed something. Every worker came with their problems, but no one dared to think beyond survival. They lived, they worked, and they repeated the cycle. But Arman, he refused to let his mind rot in that routine. Every night he sketched. Every night he wrote. Every night he studied whatever books he could borrow from the library. The dreamer was alive again. But life tested him even harder. One evening, he was told his younger sister was sick and needed expensive treatment. Arman had no savings. He begged the factory owner for an advance. The man laughed and said, "People like you are born to struggle. Don't waste your time dreaming." That night, Arman cried for hours. He felt like his whole life was slipping away. But as his tears fell on that old notebook, one sentence burned in his heart. "If I give up now, my father's death, my dreams, and my pain will mean nothing." The next morning, Arman made a decision. He would no longer just work for survival. He would fight for his dream. Arman started small. He saved every coin, every rupee, every little piece of money he could. He stopped buying new clothes. He ate the cheapest food. He walked miles instead of taking transport. All of this just to buy second-hand tools. Late at night, while others slept, he worked on his ideas. Broken machines, discarded scrap, old parts. That's all he had. But from them, he began creating small inventions to solve everyday problems for villagers. At first, people laughed. "Who do you think you are? An engineer? A businessman?" But then, one of his ideas worked. A simple water filtering device made from scrap. Villagers who once laughed now lined up to buy it. Arman's confidence grew. With every little success, he reinvested his earnings. He didn't buy luxuries. He built more products. Soon, the boy who once carried cement on his back was now being called the young innovator. But success never comes without enemies. The factory owner, jealous of Arman's growing fame, fired him without warning. "You don't need this job anymore," he mocked. It was a cruel blow, but also a blessing in disguise, because now Arman had no choice but to dive fully into his dream. Years passed. His products reached neighboring towns. Investors began noticing his unique inventions. And one day, Arman stood on a stage, holding an award for Young Entrepreneur of the Year. The same villagers who once laughed at him stood in the crowd, clapping with pride. The same factory workers who once thought survival was the only option now told their children, "Be like Arman. Dream big." And when Arman looked up at the sky that night, he whispered, "Father, I kept the promise. I didn't let our dream die." Arman's story teaches us something powerful. Dreams are fragile, yes, but they do not die unless we kill them. Pain, poverty, rejection, these are not signs to stop. They are signs to fight harder. So ask yourself today, what dream have you buried inside you? And are you brave enough to bring it back to life?